स्पोर्ट्स से जुड़ी किसी भी अपडेट के लिए स्पोर्ट्स तक को सब्सक्राइब करें और हमारे फेसबुक और इंस्टाग्राम पेज को भी जरूर फॉलो करें।
Well, I think we've naturally got better. We openly had some challenges around the balance of our side. We had some setbacks early on, players leaving and COVID, and we struggled really to find a combination that was suiting the conditions. And I go right back to the start. We played the first 3 games in each of the venues. And keep in mind, we're a team that wins around 72-74% of games back in Chennai. So we're quickly trying to find a way to be effective in what is essentially away games. We did well in the first game, but then got exposed for the next couple of games. So we felt we had holes in the team, and then we set about trying to fill those spots based on form and limited exposure. And it just didn't quite click. And then tactically, some of the batting and bowling decisions with due and no due, we couldn't really work it out. And it was just the start of the tournament was just incredibly frustrating. But we stuck together really well, which I was proud of. And one of the focuses was that we kept getting better. And we're too proud just to whimper out. And I think that's a reflection of the 3 games we've played now. We're a lot more settled. We're able to play young players in the right spot and give them a good run. And also the pressure's off as well. So when you're knocked out of a tournament, it does change the mental aspect of your side, and we played with a bit of freedom and played how we can play. So we're pretty proud of that, how we stuck together, but we're obviously disappointed that we couldn't get onto it a little bit earlier, as you say.
Now that the season is over, what have been the biggest positives for the side this season?
Oh, we hung tough as a group. Obviously in the bubble we're spending a lot of time together, and when teams aren't going well in the IPL it can get a bit toxic. But the players, every one of them were incredibly committed to what we were trying to do. Some were getting opportunities and some weren't, which again is the nature of the IPL. But we got through well, we got through strong, and the fact that we were finishing on and up is testament to the players more than anything, that they were still committed to respecting the jersey and the franchise and desperate to finish the tournament well so that we can look back and say what if rather than what next. And we've got too many fans as well that rely on us doing well and want us to do well, and we had an obligation to do that, and the players were in a good enough space and tough enough to do that, repay that.
Ruturaj Gaikwad, and again another good performance from him. How do you plan to groom him for the future as well? And a word on, did possibly you miss him earlier in the tournament? You could have possibly played him earlier.
Yeah, he's a big story, isn't he? No, we couldn't play him earlier. In fact, we played him too early. The COVID really knocked him around. We knew how good he was from the time we've had the last 2 years, and the pre-season in Chennai was outstanding. One of the disappointments obviously was he got sick, and the fact that it hung around for so long, people underestimate what it actually does to a player physically and mentally. We tried to get him into the game really early on, and looking back it was probably too soon, so it wasn't effective, not enough opportunity. We might have pushed him to get in there too quickly, and he just wasn't quite ready physically, and then you got to wait a little bit. Some doubts are cast, and you just got to keep trying to work with him in net practice, and there's limited practice matches. But we always had in mind that he was going to be a key player. The fact that he got sort of 4 games in a row and took that opportunity was testament again to his ability, but also the fact that we were right in what we saw in him. So we're really pleased for him, and obviously now he's a big candidate for us going forward.
Bowlers did a fantastic job today. Imran Tahir getting the crucial wicket of Chris Gayle, and Didi getting 3 wickets. But they didn't quite feature in all games for you, so possibly they could have played. What do you think in hindsight, and also their performance?
I'm not going to deal in hindsight. We had Josh Hazlewood also who played limited games. Where we were in trouble is that without our Indian batters, we had to fill those gaps with international players, and whilst you'd like to play all your internationals, when you're having to fill a gap at the top of the order, it puts a squeeze somewhere else. So we had to rely on our Indian seamers and only one sort of overseas bowler at a time, if that. So that's where the squeeze goes on. It was the fact we had to fill the slots that were usually taken by Indian players at the top and just rejig our side. So it wasn't that we didn't want to play them. When you got one of the best T20 bowlers in the world sitting on the sideline, it hurts me just as much as some of the experts saying, why is he not playing? But they have to think deeper than that as to what's going on in the balance of the side. And that's one of the greatest challenges of selecting each side when you've got so much talent on the bench.
And finally, you've coached other sides and you've been a part of a rebuilding process. Moving forward, if you have got to rebuild, do you think this is possibly your biggest challenge as a coach?
No, it's a great challenge. It's actually great fun. Yeah, there's a responsibility around it, but when you get the likes of Rudiraj come through and some of the players getting the mix of youth and old, and we go back to the first team that Mr. Srinivasan picked, Indian Cement, CSK picked, and how right they got it. We're looking to do the same. If you can get a decade of consistent cricket from your side, you're doing something right. So we're tapping into that, and there's a big responsibility. Teams now and squads are a lot smarter, and they really know what they want, so the talent is really at a premium. But it's one of the challenges, and good challenges, exciting challenges of being involved in an IPL side.